In the previous task, we configured IPSec SiteToSite VPN between Cisco iOS and the FortiGate firewall. This time, we will do the same thing, but between the Cisco iOS and the Cisco Firepower Threat Defense, the FTD firewall. It doesn't have any configuration on it. We will configure the FTD from scratch. I am bridging the Ethernet 0 management interface of the FTD to my physical network, so we can set the IP address and get to the web graphical user interface of the FTT from our physical device. We are not going to use the FMC, the centralized management center, for configuring the FTD. Instead, we will use the local management web graphical user interface of the FTD to configure it. Let's click on the device. So here we have the console. The username, default username and password is admin and admin123. The password is admin123 with the capital A. So we have the capital A at the beginning and admin123. Let's enter to accept these stuff, and it will ask us to do some initial IP addressing configuration. Please enter yes or press enter to agree. Okay, yes. Now, we must set a password. I'm setting Orhan Ergun LLC 123. Orhan Ergun LLC 123. And the dollar sign as an example. Orhan Ergun LLC 123 dollar sign. Okay. Do you want to configure IP version 4? Yes. Do you want to configure IP version 6? No. Which one do you prefer to configure the IP addressing, DHCP or manual? We configure the manual. Okay. I want to set for the management interface 10, 20, 20, 186. It is asking for the subnet mask. We are accepting this 3255s and enter the IP version 4 default gateway. Okay, my internet router is 10.20.21. What name do you want to set for this device? I want to set FTD firewall 33. Okay. And accept these values. And we don't want some search domains, etc. That's okay. Let's wait. Okay. Let's try connecting to the device using the Firefox web browser. The IP address was 10.20.21.86 HTTPS 10.20.21.86. Okay. Now accept it. Web graphical user interface pops up. We can log into the device. Firepower device manager. You have the local management web graphical user interface. So I mentioned before, we are not using FMC for now. And Orhan Ergun LLC 123 dollar sign. That's it. It will ask us for some initial configuration. We will skip it. We don't need. Okay, let's skip to the device setup and accept this 90-day evaluation license. And at the moment, we are setting the 4 cores for the device with 8 gigabytes of memory. So FTD version 5 tiered, 4 core 8 gigabyte, which is the license I'm accepting. Let's wait. Okay, let's analyze the interfaces here. The WAN interface I want to use is gigabit 00. Local area network interface, gigabit 01. We need to set the IP address on them, obviously. Okay, this is the dashboard of the device. Now go to the interfaces and see what is happening there. Obviously, we have a management interface already configured. The management interface is this one. Okay, it is setting some IP address on them. In order to change the IP address for the gigabit 01, we need to first go to the DHCP server, and we have this configuration, the pool configuration for the DHCP. Let's remove it. Okay, go back here and go to the interfaces again. Gigabit 00 should have 10.133 IP address subnet. Okay, gigabit 00 is the outside interface. Okay, I don't want to change it. We can change it to the WAN, etc. The routed mode is okay, and the type is static. Let's set the 10.133.33 with the /24 mask for it. Okay. Prefix length, sorry, /24. Okay, for this gigabit 01, we should set 172.16.33.33. Edit 172.16.33.33. That's it. Okay. It is the inside interface. Now, we have configured initially the IP address on the interfaces. We need to have the default route as well. If you go to the routing section, view the configuration. For static routing at the moment, we have nothing. Let's create one. And I want to set the name default route here, and the interface that helps us to get to the default gateway is gigabit 00 outside interface. Okay. And we want to add the network here. The network is any IP version 4 network, which means all 0/0. The gateway should be defined. Here I want to create an object called default gateway. Default gateway. Okay. The default gateway 10.1.33.1. The internet router address on that interface. Okay, select it, click on OK. That's it. The next step, before I continue with the next step, let me deploy these configuration on the device. It is going to configure your device, you see, and these configuration are going to be put on the device and pushed to it. Let's deploy and OK. It takes some time in order to deploy it. Deployment is in progress. We can continue, by the way, by creating the SiteToSite VPN. If you click on the device name here, go down, we have a SiteToSite VPN. Before we create it, we need to read the task. Task 5. Configure a point-to-point IPSec VPN between R2 and firewall 33. It's going to be a site-to-site IPSec VPN. Use IKE version 1. Phase 1 policy sequence should be set to the 35 on the R2. Phase 1 proposal, DES for the encryption, SHA for the hash, Diffie-Hellman group 5 to do the key exchange, and pre-shared key. These are the limitation of the Cisco FTD evaluation license. Phase 2 transform set, ESP, DES, ESP SHA, HMAC. Let's define them now. The traffic between R2 LAN subnet and firewall 33 LAN subnet should be encrypted. Okay. Go to the management console of the FTD device. We clicked on the site-to-site VPN. Now click on create site-to-site connection. We need to set a profile name for this connection. Let's say router 2 R2 firewall 33 IPSec. Okay. Now, the local VPN access interface. Which access interface we want to select in order to get to this device and do the IPsec site-to-site VPN? Gigabit 00. You should specify this one, not this LAN interface. No, you should specify this outgoing outside interface in order to reach to this R2. Let's select it. It is the outside interface, gigabit 00. What about your local network? You are specifying your interested traffic to be matched and encrypted. We want to match the traffic source from 172.16.33/24 going to the 172.16.20/24. Okay, let's specify it. We need to create a new object. Okay, network. I say local subnet. The local subnet is 172.16.33.0/24. That's it. Okay, specify and click on OK. Remote site. The IP address of the remote device, remote IP address, sorry, 10.1.22. Okay, this is the public IP address, let's say, the internet IP address of the router 2, 10.1.22. We are just specifying here. Remote network. It says we don't recommend to use any for this option. Just be specific. Define your remote subnet and select it here. Remote LAN subnet or subnet, let's say. This is R2 remote subnet, by the way. R2 subnet. Okay, it's just the name. 172.16.20/24. I'm specifying this network, the local area network behind R2. Click on OK. And R2 subnet is selected. Click on OK. Now we can go to the next step. It's asking for the connection profile again. Maybe it's a bug or something. Whenever you try to define the remote site part, it is clearing this part. R2 firewall 33 IPsec and gigabit 00 again. Local subnet is there. Click on next. Now it is asking us to select if we want to use the IKE version 2 or IKE version 1. We want to use for now the IKE version 1. What about the policy? There are some policies by default defined on this device. But the task asking us to specifically define this policy, this one, including DES, SHA, Diffie-Hellman Group 5, PSK, pre-shared key. Let's define a new custom one. This is the proposal, the policy, ISACAM policy. Priority, I'm setting 40 as an example. And here, just a name to put for it. The name should be explaining whatever we are trying to do. It is not mandatory, but for understanding purpose, I'm putting the protocols here in the name. DES, SHA, Diffie-Hellman 5. Define it. DES, SHA, Diffie-Hellman 5, and pre-shared key. What encryption you want to use? We want to use the DES, pre-shared key, of course, Diffie-Hellman 5. It is deprecated, you see, but evaluation license is limiting us anyways. For the hash, we have the SHA option. Click on OK. It is not accepting this kind of name. Let's put the dash here. OK. Now we defined it. You can select and enable it. DES, SHA, Diffie-Hellman 5 pre-shared key. OK. What about the IPSec proposal, the phase 2 proposal? Edit. And these are the default ones, but we don't want to use them. Instead, we want to create a new IPSec proposal. This is the transform set, by the way, on the Cisco iOS. They mentioned that use ESP DES, ESP SHA HMAC. Okay, ESP DES SHA HMAC. The mode, tunnel mode, ESP DES, and ESP SHA HMAC is there. Click on OK and select the policy that you created, the IPSec proposal, created. OK. Click on OK. Pre-shared key. We want to use R2 firewall 33 key. And we are OK with the lifetime. You can change it also, no worries. Do you want to have the perfect forwarding secrecy turned on? No, we don't want it. Click on next. It's showing you the summary, what's going to happen from this local network, local subnet, which is 172.16.33.0/24. We have this firepower device in the middle, and we have the internet access. We will create a VPN tunnel, and this is the endpoint. 10.122 is the peer endpoint, and this is the remote network. 172.16.20/24. Okay. It's showing you some summary as well. IKE version 1, IKE policy, we are using this one. IPSec proposal, we are using this one. And pre-shared key as the authentication type with the manual key set. Finish. Let's deploy it. We have one more step. We need to go to the policies here and create 2 access rules, because by default everything is blocked by the firewall. I want to create an access rule named local to remote. We specify the network, the local subnet, the destination remote R2 subnet, allow it. Create another one, this time remote to local. When the source is R2 subnet, destination is local subnet. We want to allow it. Action is allow here. Okay. Now we deploy this policy. It will push it to the device, allowing the traffic sourced from local subnet destined to R2 subnet. And also in the reverse direction, traffic source from R2 subnet going to local subnet. It takes some time to deploy this policy. It takes about 1 minute or something. We can get the things ready for capturing the traffic to see if it is being encrypted. I will check the security associations also. Okay, the Wireshark is ready, and we wait for this deployment. Before these policies, the traffic is not being allowed, obviously being blocked. You need to specifically tell the device to allow them. Anyways, here, as it is being deployed, we can go to the PC10 and try some ping. Seems it is deployed, but it is not informing us. And the traffic is being encrypted. You see, between 10.122 and 10.133.33, it is being encapsulated by the ESP. ESP is the protocol number 50. And if you put your device behind the network address translation, not doing device, obviously port address translation, if it is being done, this ESP won't work. We need to use the NAT traversal, which is automatically enabled on the Cisco iOS devices. In the NAT traversal, instead of using the ESP protocol number 50, we will use the UDP default port number 4500. And the ISACamp is using port number 500 with the UDP. So be aware of that. in the case of network address translation with the port address translation, such as overloading NAT, and you put your gateway behind the router which is doing the NAT, you need to have the NAT traversal IPsec. Instead of using ESP protocol number 50, you should use UDP 4500. Okay, it is being deployed and works fine. If we jump into the PC10 again, try pinging this device. Let's say 1000 times I want to do it. Go to the captured traffic. You will see all the ESP traffic here. Everything works fine. We can verify it on the R2 to show crypto, ISACAMP security association with the firewall. We are doing the first phase. 33 is the IP address of the remote device I'm looking for. They are using the DES, SHA, pre-shared key, and Diffie-Hellman group 5. What about the IPsec security association? Let's find it. Okay, this is it. And PFS is not enabled, is not being used. We are using the IPsec tunnel mode and ESP-DES, ESP-SHA, HMAC. That was all about configuring the IPsec site-to-site VPN between a Cisco device, Cisco iOS, iOS XE, and Cisco Firepower Threat Defense Firewall.